The lake was mirror still that Sunday morning, the kind of calm that makes you feel like the world's holding its breath. I was out on my dock, my favorite fishing rod in hand, the gentle tug of the line promising a good day. Then out of nowhere, a sharp yank ripped the rod from my grip. I spun around just in time to see my doula, 500 rig reel, tackle, the work sailing through the air, glinting in the sunlight before it plunged into the deepest part of the lake with a sickening splash. My jaw dropped. Standing there, hands on her hips, was Linda, the HOA president, her face twisted with smug satisfaction. "This lake's for looking at, not fishing," she snapped, her voice dripping with authority. I stood frozen, my brain struggling to process what just happened. Did she really just chuck my gear into the water? On my own dock? Behind my own house? Let me back up. I'd moved to Willow Creek Estates for this Lakia man-made beauty that came with private docks for every waterfront home. The realtor had practically sold me on the fishing alone, and I'd double-checked the HOA rules before signing. Noise limits? Sure. Dock upkeep? Fine. But fishing from your own property? Not a word against it. For months, it was paradise. Saturday mornings, I'd be out there with my rod, catching bass and bluegill, releasing them back to keep the peace. Neighbors would wave from the walking path that looped the lake, some even stopping to chat about what was biting. It was the suburban dream I'd scraped and saved for. Then Linda got elected HOA president, and everything changed. Word around the neighborhood was she was a nightmare measuring lawns with a ruler to catch a blade over regulation height, slapping violation notices on mailboxes for being the wrong shade of taupe. She'd driven out a family over an unapproved pool color and forced an old man to ditch his bird feeder because it lured undesirable squirrels. I'd stayed off her radar until one day she spotted me reeling in a fish. "What do you think you're doing?" she'd bark from the path. I explained I was fishing, nice and polite. She shot back that the lake was decorative only, no active VY ties allowed. When I asked for the rule, she promised to send it. Spoiler, it never came, probably because it didn't exist. That didn't stop Linda. She made it her mission to catch me fishing, popping up on the path with her clipboard, snapping photos like I was some criminal mastermind. Once, she dragged along another board member, poor Tom, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "There he is, fishing again," she'd said, pointing. Tom mumbled something vague and shuffled her along. Later, he swung by my place to apologize. "There's no rule against fishing," he admitted. "But you know Linda once, she's got to be in her bonnet. Good luck." Oh, I knew. Everyone in Willow Creek knew. Linda was a one-woman reign of terror, and I was her new pet project. It started small notes in my mailbox on fancy HOA letterhead, warning me to stop fishing but never citing a rule. Then came the loud comments as she passed by. "Some people think they're above the rules. Always the new folks ruining our standards." I tried reasoning with her. I ignored her. I even went to an HOA meeting to ask about fishing rules. The board confirmed there weren't any, and when Linda's push for a new anti-fishing rule got shot down 4-1, I thought that'd be the end. I was dead wrong. That Sunday, the air was warm, kids were playing down the shore, and a couple strolled by with their dog. I was soaking in the sunshine when Linda's voice cut through the calm. "Still breaking rules, I see." I didn't even turn around. "There's no rule, Linda. The board voted. We're done here." Her heels clicked closer on the dock. "I've consulted our legal counsel," she said, her tone icy. "As HOA president, I have emergency powers to protect community property." I couldn't help I laughed. "That's not a thing, Linda. Bad move." Her footsteps sped up, and before I could react, she snatched my rod and hurled it into the lake. "This isn't your playground," she sneered as the ripples spread. For a split second, everything stopped. Then chaos erupted. A neighbor yelled, "You can't do that." Another shouted they had it on VY Deo. I found my voice, low and steady despite the rage boiling inside. "That's destruction of property and trespassing. I'm calling the cops." Linda's smug look faltered, her eyes darting to the growing crowd phones out, neighbors gaping. My neighbor Sarah, a retired lawyer, stepped in. "You've got no authority to destroy his stuff, Linda. And you're on his dock. Yin and VY Ted. That's trespassing." Linda's face turned beet red. "I'm enforcing standards," she sputtered. I pulled out my phone. Show me the rule. I've got the covenant right here. She waved at the lake. If you want your rod, go swim for it. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called 911, and soon 2 officers were striding down to the dock. Linda didn't run, she stood there, all sugary charm. Officers, this resident's been fishing in our decorative lake, violating rules. When I tried to stop him, he got threatening. The cops glanced at me, then back at Linda. Is that what happened, sir? Before I could speak, 3 neighbors rushed forward, phones extended. She threw his rod in the lake, one said. Got all on video, added another. The officers watched the footage, their faces hardening. They asked for the HOA covenant, which I handed over. After taking statements, they turned to Linda, who was tapping her foot like this was all a big inconvenience. Ma'am, the older cop said, there's no rule against fishing here. And even if there was, you can't destroy property or trespass to enforce it. You're under arrest for criminal mischief and harassment. The neighborhood went silent as Linda was cuffed, her face draining from red to ghostly white. Tears streamed down her cheeks, not remorse, I'd bet, but pure humiliation. She was led to the squad car, her reign crumbling with every step. The fallout was brutal. Linda was charged with criminal mischief, harassment, and trespassing. A judge ordered her to pay due law $1,500 to replace my gear, plus 100 hours of community service VYC and 6 months probation. The HOA held an emergency meeting, voted 10-0, to boot her from the presidency. Group ID bang 171-356. 0084 VA artifact ID bang A7B9F1C2AT3D4F6A99 CD1F4E5D7C2A VA artifact version ID bang CD3C5B337B243FC37F28B60E50. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.